Okay, so there's this interview with Sean Carroll on Salon.com, and the headline reads, "The evidence is pretty incontrovertible that he doesn't exist. Stephen Colbert's favorite scientist on the universe, naturalism, and finding meaning without God."
Wow, that's a pretty big matzo ball of a title, isn't it? Sean Carroll is actually claiming he has incontrovertible, well, pretty incontrovertible, evidence that God doesn't exist. Now, as we know, most atheists will claim that there is no evidence for God, and they hold this claim to be self-evident or axiomatic. But here, Sean Carroll is actually claiming he has pretty incontrovertible evidence God doesn't exist. Now, surely he would tell us what this pretty incontrovertible evidence is, wouldn't he? Let's read on.
In the prologue to the interview, the author gives us this editorial comment. Aside from the existential importance of understanding science, there's also a purely aesthetic issue. The scientific worldview offers, I would argue, a far richer and more elegant picture of the cosmos than any ancient myth or grand narrative conjured up by the human imagination during the Iron Age.
Okay, I'm just going to put aside for the moment these question-begging assumptions about myths and human imagination. The author here makes absolutely no excuse for his own atheistic biases. I just want to get to this part where he says, the scientific worldview offers... Okay, first off, science is not a worldview, science is a method, and it's a method that can be employed by theists or atheists. But he goes on to say, the scientific worldview offers a far richer and more elegant picture of the cosmos than any blah 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 blah. Okay, I will grant that the picture of the natural world given to us by the scientific method is rich and elegant. The thing is, we get that too. Atheists don't have any sole proprietorship over the picture of the natural world given to us by the scientific method. Moreover, on a naturalistic worldview, the richness and elegance that we see in the world is just due to the wiring of our brains. It's just due to our evolution. It's not due to anything inherent in the world itself. Naturalism is actually an aesthetically impoverished worldview.
Later on in the interview, the author lobs this complete asinine softball question to Sean Carroll. One thing you emphasize in the big picture is the importance of being comfortable with uncertainty and incomplete knowledge. Unlike religion, which sees beliefs as the points of departure, science sees them as the destinations of an ongoing journey for truth. Why exactly is it so crucial to be flexible in our belief systems? What if flexibility is too uncomfortable for people?
Haven't we all had enough of this horseshit? So much of atheist rhetoric is just this insipid, self-serving blather. At no point do they interact with data or evidence or logical inference while touting the rigors of the scientific method in the most vague way possible. Okay? Religion sees beliefs as points of departure means jack shit. Science sees beliefs as destinations and the blah 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 means jack shit, okay? Seeing beliefs is something that people do. It's not what these abstract, hypostatized entities of science and religion do. People can arrive at religious beliefs and people can arrive at scientific beliefs. These beliefs can be true or false. People's reasons for arriving at them can be valid or they can be invalid. In this sense, religious beliefs and scientific beliefs aren't qualitatively any different.
Later in the interview, Carroll says this. Naturalism is the simple idea that there is only one world, the natural world. There isn't a separate spiritual or theistic realm of existence. In practice, naturalists are also usually willing to accept that the natural world obeys rigid patterns, the laws of nature, and that we can discover what it's like through the process of scientific investigation. Naturalists are atheists. They don't believe in God, but the label is a positive claim about what one does believe in, rather than what one rejects.
Now let's try to think about this, Sean. Theists believe in a natural world and they believe in a supernatural world, whereas naturalists only believe in a natural world. So it would seem that naturalism is defined by what it excludes, making naturalism a negative claim about the world. Let's try to put on our thinking caps here, Sean.
Buried in the interview towards the end, Carroll says this. I strongly feel that the methods of science and empirical investigation can be brought to bear on all interesting questions about the fundamental nature of the universe, including whether or not God exists, and the evidence is pretty incontrovertible that he doesn't. But Carroll doesn't bother to try to substantiate the claim beyond that. If he had, it would have been far more interesting than anything actually included in this interview. Yeah, sure, we get to hear the same insipid slogans about religion versus science for the millionth time, but we don't get to hear an actual substantive argument for atheism the first time.
So throughout this whole interview that touches on any number of topics, it's this one offhanded remark that they splash across the headline, because let's be honest, that's all Salon readers really care about. Here's a man with scientific pedigree, and he gives his blessing in the most superficial way to their own atheistic prejudices. They don't give a shit about science. They're only interested in science insofar as it can be used to tell them that, yeah, they're better than those benighted religious people.
Now keep in mind, in the run-up to his debate with William Lane Craig, Sean Carroll actually said this: "The case I hope to make for naturalism will be so impressively, mind-bogglingly, breathtakingly strong that it should be nearly impossible for any reasonable person to hear it and not be immediately convinced. Honestly, I'll be disappointed if there are any theists left in the audience once the whole thing is over." So maybe Sean Carroll is just deluded. Maybe he's so fully cocooned in his atheist echo chamber that he actually believes he's in possession of devastating arguments against God, and that he's leaving behind auditoriums of newly minted atheists in his wake. For the record, I thought Carroll's performance of the Craig debate was so bad, I was actually sinking in my seat out of embarrassment for him.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.